All right. Hi, Rameeza.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good.
So, for people, you are not a musician.
I'm not a musician.
So, I'm not going to give you your little intro that I give with people's credentials. But you can give a
Ouch.
quick intro to yourself.
I'm not a musician, but I am a fan of music. I used to work at Mango Bars, and as a writer, I would write
Why are you
about
talking to the
K-pop.
camera? You should be talking
Oh,
to
really?
me.
I thought I was introducing myself to the audience.
नहीं.
अच्छा, okay. मैं मैंगो बास में काम अच्छा उर्दू या इंग्लिश
Mix.
ओके
Whatever is comfortable.
मैं मैंगो बास में काम करती थी एंड एज अ राइटर बिकॉज आई बिकेम अ फैन ऑफ के पॉप तो मेरा फोकस ऑब्वियसली के पॉप की तरफ भी अपनी राइटिंग में चला गया और जो भी लाइक रेलेवेंट न्यूज़ अबाउट के पॉप जो पाकिस्तानी फैंस के लिए रेलेवेंट होती थी आई स्टार्टेड राइटिंग अबाउट दैट now I work in research at a cognitive psychology lab, but I'm still very much writing about K-pop and tweeting about it and thinking about it.
So that's why you're here, basically, because
Yeah.
you are the biggest K-pop fan that I know.
Okay, that
I mean,
you know.
Actually, I think you're the only K-pop fan that I know in
really?
Pakistan. Yeah.
No, Natasha Noorani.
Yeah, but I don't know her like properly.
Okay, true.
But yeah, she is also another K-pop stan.
Yeah.
So before we get into all the K-pop stuff, I do have one question because it's just on my mind recently, which was
Yeah.
before Eid. I don't know if you know about this. There was on Twitter, I went on Twitter one day and it was, my timeline was full of the BTS hashtag.
Are you sure you want to talk about that?
So, okay, because honestly, I looked at it and I was like, oh, BTS is trending again. It must be
Yeah.
for some
Yeah.
standard reason. They usually are trending. And I paid no attention to it. And then I was looking and it kept coming up from people who I knew were not like BTS fans.
Yeah.
And they were tweeting about something that was completely unrelated to BTS, it seemed like.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I don't even want to know what this is about.
Yeah.
So what is the story?
Are you sure
about?
you want to know?
What is it?
I don't think you could like put this on.
Acha.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. I was like, something weird is going on here, but
Something
I have no idea.
really messed up happened.
It's not funny.
It's not funny
Okay, so
at
I should
all.
stop. I should stop laughing.
I'll tell you off camera.
Acha.
Yeah, it could get us in trouble.
Nahi.
It could get us in trouble. Yeah, it got me in trouble with armies because they were upset at people using the hashtag. They're like, these are
Armies
our
being
hashtags.
not the
BTS.
Pakistani army.
No,
Huh.
not the. They were probably upset too, but like.
Yeah.
नहीं BTS आर्मीज़ पाकिस्तानी आर्मीज़ जो थे वो बहुत अपसेट थे कि हमारे हैशटैग locals is like stan language for people who are not fans of K-pop.
Okay.
So they're like, oh, locals are like using our hashtags to
Okay.
cover up something, and we're not okay with it. They're using our boys and blah blah blah.
Uh-huh.
So I was just like, अच्छा ठीक है तो मैं भी tweet करी थी, but for me because I'm an actual fan, I started like talking about BTS in reality, and उस दिन
Okay.
जंगकोक ने गाना निकाला था और इसलिए वो पहले से ट्रेंड कर रहा था and people picked it up and wanted to get higher in the panel. So I started talking about the song and like their like discography and stuff like that. And तो उन tweets पे किसी ने कुछ नहीं कहा. एक पे मैंने like थोड़ा सा unrelated to BTS था और वो दोनों hashtags use कर लिए. So I got like 7 tweets and DMs from different Pakistani BTS armies that, you know, what you're doing is not okay and we're not okay. Like, stop using our boys and our hashtags.
But I still have no idea what's going on. Why
it was,
you can't mention it?
I can't. It's
Okay, I still don't really get it, but it's fine. Let's move past,
Yeah,
past it.
let's just
It just seems like random Twitter
yeah
insanity, and
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah,
So
as usual.
yeah, as usual. But yeah, the main thing is I'm interested in Pakistani K-pop fans because they are pretty stans, they call them, right?
Yeah.
Like
You can-
every fandom.
yeah.
But let's start from the start. Why did you become a K-pop fan?
So I think I got into K-pop properly in the beginning of 2019, ठीक है. उससे पहले मैंने 2018 में एक पीस किया था about toxic Pakistani and like South Asian masculinity and how they think of like Korean idols and actors as feminine and they use like derogatory words for them. तो and they're always talking about कि हमें नहीं समझ आता कि यहाँ पे लड़कियों को ये क्या पसंद है, ये तो खुद लड़कियाँ लगती हैं and stuff like that. Even when I wasn't a fan, that used to really irk me कि ये क्या बकवास है. तो एक दिन आई सॉ ट्वीट ऑन माई ट्विटर टाइमलाइन, उसके अंदर वही पाकिस्तानी मैन नीचे ना बकवास करना शुरू कर दी उनने तो आई रोट अ पीस अबाउट इट देन कि इतना क्यों मसला होता है पाकिस्तानी मर्दों को, लाइक डोंट दे नो कि फवाद खान भी जब टीवी पे आता है वो मेकअप करता है, और जस्ट बिकॉज दे वेयर लाइक कलरफुल क्लोथ्स एंड नॉट लाइक मोनोटोन अजीब मोनोक्रोमैटिक कलर्स पहन के नहीं, वो सॉम्बर शक्लें बना के नहीं गाते, तो उसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि दे आर फेमिनिन और इट्स नॉट टेकिंग अवे फ्रॉम लाइक देयर जेंडर आइडेंटिटी और व्हाटएवर. तो आई रोट अबाउट दैट एंड तब I wasn't interested. I hadn't like actively heard music, like deliberately मैंने नहीं सुने थे K-pop गाने, जो वैसे ही सुने थे वो सुने हुए थे. But उसके बाद what happened was कि I saw that a lot of people were into K-pop, like not just people that I didn't know and young girls, but women my age, they were into K-pop. And a lot of them don't like publicly talk about it, but you see it here and there कि उन्हें tweet कर दिया, they retweet something or whatever. So I got interested, and then me and I think Sarmad were talking about it too, and then
Sarmad is the editor
at Mango Bars, yeah. So we were talking about it and he's like, this is something you can explore. So you know, I was like, acha, we can do a piece about like why these like women are into K-pop, because for me personally at the time I was like, you know, lyrics and music are more important than the actual music to me. So if you don't even understand it, like how do you relate, and like is it just like a catchy beat that they're into, or is it the lyrics or whatever. So here I talked to like a few fans, like I put out a tweet okay, if anyone wants to talk to me and you're a K-pop fan in Pakistan, let me know, like let's talk. तो फिर a few like women DM'd me and they were like, hi, I'm a fan, I'd love to talk to you. And then I asked them, and a lot of them, like what struck me was कि different fandoms की थी, सिर्फ BTS के fans नहीं थे, EXO के भी थे, फिर Blackpink and like different Mamamoo इधर उधर के.
These are all Korean.
Yeah, they're all K-pop bands. Yeah. So they all messaged me and they were like, oh, they just like make me happy. And a lot of them had the same story that even maybe I do. Okay, they were at a point in their lives where they weren't very happy and nothing was like making them smile anymore, and they were just down, and then they found K-pop and they got into it. And there was no looking back. It does really make you happy, and I was like, acha, okay, that's like really interesting. And then some of them were like, the music is so healing, like agar uski tum lyrics padho और तुम सही तरह सुनो तो तुम्हें पता चलेगा. I was like, अच्छा ठीक है ये वो ना. And then one of them like sent me links कि this is a song that really like stuck out to me. I was like, ठीक है. So I didn't intend to listen to anything that they sent me.
So this is really interesting that you were not your introduction to K-pop was not through the music itself. It was through the
fans
surrounding the music, and the basic ideas around the music.
Yeah, like why, like talking to people about why they love it so much, like intrigued me maybe.
Politically as well, right? As you were saying, like the gender aspect or toxic masculinity aspect. So that was your first road in.
Yeah.
And then it was through the fans.
Like my first conscious, I think, like road into it.
Right.
And
you hadn't listened to any song at this point?
I obviously like Gangnam Style or ye wo to sune hue the.
Is Gangnam Style K-pop?
Yeah. He's like a K-pop idol.
Really?
Yeah, Sai.
Oh god, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought he might be like Chinese or something.
No, he's Korean.
Achha.
Gangnam is like a neighborhood in Korea.
Okay. I didn't read any of that.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
That was like the first
I was sweating already.
big K-pop song. फिर क्या हुआ कि उसने
I guess it's because he's a solo artist. That's why I didn't connect
and he
it.
doesn't fit the mold, right?
Yeah.
Because Korean idols are like very polished, young, and like
exactly.
they have a certain image.
And there's usually like they're in bands. Usually.
Yeah, but they're also solo singers,
Achha.
obviously. But
but
ज़्यादा popular तो bands ही होते हैं. But yeah, I think उसका ये scene था. I'm not sure, but he made his own media agency now, and it's like really liberal in terms of कि वो अपने artists को इतने strictly नहीं monitor करता जितनी बाकी करती है, you know, like.
We're gonna come back to that later on.
Okay.
But yeah, first finish how you got into it.
So she sent me like these songs and she was like, ये सुनना, like देख लेना. तो like at that night जब मैंने आर्टिकल लिख दिया था, मैं वापस उस conversation पे गई, मैंने एक क्लिक कर दिया ना जो उसने भेजा और बहुत recommend किए थे, तो वो मैंने सुन लिया. और वो था BTS में शुगा जो है उसकी मिक्स टेप थी ऑगस्ट डी. ही इज़ अ रैपर. तो उसने मिक्स टेप बनाई थी अपनी पहली, और उसमें उसने ना बहुत रॉ लाइक इमोशनल गाने लिखे थे. और मिक्स टेप का फ़ायदा ये होता है आर्टिस्ट को कि इट्स नॉट लाइक दे कैन डू व्हाटएवर दे वांट. एंड उसके अंदर उसने गालियाँ भी दी हैं, उसने लाइक वो गन्स ब्लेजिंग उसमें आया ना कि वो सिर्फ रैप है. तो एक उसमें गाना था, उसके अंदर ही टॉक्स अबाउट हिज डिप्रेशन एंड लाइक सम things that people assume were him talking about suicidal ideation and stuff like that. And it's like the lyrics are amazing. Like, or I think un dino I was really low too, and I wasn't very happy. So they kind of resonated with me, like some of the things he said. So I was like, oh my god, like I get it ke translation hai, like obviously इतनी fan translations भी होती हैं. There are a lot of Korean fans who speak English and वो like proper translate करते हैं, so you get like the context behind it too, and not just like the literal meaning or whatever.
Is there a K-pop version of like Genius.com? Do you know Genius.com?
Yeah, I know. Genius पे वैसे K-pop के गाने भी होते हैं, हाँ, translations भी होती हैं, but like fans have their own blogs and everything.
Sure. Can you just do one quick? Can you move the mic a little bit closer and then angle it? Yeah, that way. Yeah, perfect.
Can we have the AC on?
Yeah,
it's really
this
hard.
is not gonna work.
Yeah.
No.
Oh my god.
Can
I have tissues at least?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Let's pause it for a minute. Where were we?
Min Yoongi, August D.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. So I listened to like his song, और इसके अंदर इतने like intense themes थे about him also feeling unhappy, and it was just really deep and really meaningful, and at that point in time it resonated with me. So I was like, oh okay, like it's not just synchronized dancing and really, you know, gorgeous sets. It's really meaningful and deep. And you know, I think I also bought into like the Western narrative around K-pop, which is they're like factory produced, perfect, you know, idols, और इनकी कोई अपनी personality नहीं होती. इनकी जो companies होती हैं, इनकी हर move control करती हैं, and it's like they make music which isn't even sincere. It's music that producers think will just like rank highly और ज़्यादा play हो सकता है, which is not true.
Okay.
ठीक है. It's like this Western propaganda that tries to discredit Korean artists and their music, which is really unfair considering that I think the term K-pop is also very reductive. It's not just pop music. It's like there's rap, there's R&B, there's hip-hop, and there like ballads bhi hote hain. There's so much, like it's a very reductive term, and it's just putting them in a box, which I think is very unfair.
Well, that's interesting because even when I've only heard a few songs, and they seemed like good, and I found them interesting. I can't remember which one you made me listen to. You forced me to listen to, but it was some rap song, I think.
Yeah, I think it was the one with the artist Juice
Dang,
WRLD.
it was something like Dang.
Oh, Dang.
Yeah, that one. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
But anyway, about the whole manufacturing element, because that is a big part of it, right? Because a lot of people feel like they've come through, all of these stars go through a system, and they emerge on the other side as these very polished, like you said, superstars, basically.
Yeah.
And then they have to go through this, like they release an album and then they do the whole promotion of it, and it kind of makes them feel like, or people view them as, from the West anyway, people view them as products of a system. So what do you think, why do you feel after being a fan that no, they're not that actually?
The thing is that how is it any different in the West?
Well, exactly, I was about to say that.
Yeah, like One Direction जब वो बना था, उसके बाद उनकी ट्रेनिंग हुई थी, उनकी सब कुछ वोकल ट्रेनिंग होती थी, डांस ट्रेनिंग भी होती थी, उन्हें करना नहीं होता था, वो बहुत like शोधे बनते थे कि oh we're not a boy band that dances, but like they
probably
all
because
go
they just
through
couldn't
that.
dance, right?
Probably. And but the thing is that I think they just want it to be that way, because you know the Asian caricature that a lot of Westerners have is ke oh they do what they're told and they're like उनकी कोई personality नहीं होती है, सिर्फ पढ़ते हैं और इतने obedient होते हैं. तो I think उनकी यही
it's
thinking,
incredibly dehumanizing.
Yeah, exactly. Like if they think BTS या any other band, they don't even listen to the music or like try to read it with translation or try to understand it, क्योंकि आपके cultural context में it doesn't make sense, but in theirs it does.
Right.
ठीक है, it's very meaningful. But they just want to make it feel like oh, it's not real music. Like it's all done by their agency. इनके producers सब करते हैं, इनको खिलाते हैं और ये उगल देते हैं और फिर कहते हैं ये music है. It's not that. Like almost every band that I know at least, they have like creative control in a way कि वो songwriting और production process में involved होते हैं. ऐसी कोई बात नहीं है कि they're just like sitting in a meeting room और उनके producers कहते हैं ये गाना है, रट्टो आ जाओ और take लगाओ.
I mean, even when you talk about that, like Taylor Swift, for instance.
Yeah.
She's gone through the system completely.
Yeah.
Her every album is like, okay, now we're going to go for an indie folk album.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be really like, what do you call it, confessional, and it's going to have all these elements of it. And then, you know, before that she came out with, what was 1989?
Yeah. Yeah, it was Reputation.
So, yeah, Reputation, that's such a, what do you call it, manufactured album.
I mean,
I don't mind Taylor Swift stuff, but you know, if you call K-pop manufactured, then you can't look away and say that, or Taylor Swift,
that
or
is something I agree with.
One Direction, or Zayn Malik, or any of these massive pop stars, Miley Cyrus, whatever.
Yeah,
they all are also manufactured, but maybe in a cleverer way, so that it doesn't look as manufactured.
I don't know. I don't even think that it's very clever. I think it's just that क्योंकि Western media की hegemony है, like पूरी दुनिया में, right? तो जो वो बोलते हैं सब वही ज़्यादा पढ़ते हैं. I mean, you won't open a Korean newspaper or a Korean website, right, to get your news about K-pop or whatever. तो obviously जो उनकी mainstream narrative है वो ज़्यादा लोगों को वही पता होता है. And I remember जब मैं छोटी थी और मैं Disney Channel के सारे ये singers और actors जो हैं देखती थी, और if they veered out of line even a little bit, उन लोगों की फिर like Disney would get pissed off.
Sure.
Do you remember like the scandal with Vanessa Hudgens? जब उसकी वो nude pictures release हो गई थी. अच्छा. उसके बाद like all of these Disney stars जब उनके contracts खत्म हुए, they started talking about it. They're like पता नहीं पूरा दिन executives ने उसे कमरे में बिठाया था और उसकी like they were like why did you do this and how do we control it and narrative कैसे हम shift करें, तुम्हारा good girl image है. So like how is that any different? Obviously a media company that has talent and artists, they're going to do and everything to protect the image of whatever they're making. So I don't see how K-pop is any different. ठीक है, अमेरिका में जो PR agencies हैं, जो media companies हैं, they do the same thing. बल्कि maybe some of them are even worse. Like, you know, Kesha was sexually assaulted by her producer, but you know everyone's going to ignore that and be like, but K-pop idols are like so fake. I'm like, okay, sure, because you know, whatever.
Okay, so what made you believe that they were authentic?
I think when I heard that song, that was it. I was like, I don't know why the narrative is कि इनका इतना manufactured or like इतना high, like you know इतनी beats वाला music होता है जो बस radio play के लिए सही होता है. I was like, this wouldn't be played on the radio. This song would never make it on mainstream air. And it's so meaningful and deep, and this is by an artist like BTS का artist है ये, तो obviously he's like huge. It's not like कि कोई indie artist मैं सुन रही हूँ. Then when I started listening to their own songs, like the entire band songs, ठीक है, तो हाँ जो उनके कुछ गाने होते हैं, they're very upbeat and they may not have the same meaning as some others do, but they still do. Like उनके album के अंदर इतने गाने होते हैं, and the thing is that BTS just doesn't sing love songs or like whatever. They're actually बहुत कम मुझे लगता है उनके ऐसे गाने हैं जो मैं कह सकती हूँ कि जी ये proper love song है. A lot of times if it is like a love song, it's like a love song from them to their fans, thanking them for taking them where they are. और उनके इतने like BTS is actually like a lot different from a lot of bands in Korea, क्योंकि इन लोगों की जो agency थी वो ज़्यादा छोटी थी. And do you want to talk about like the big three in Korea? And
yeah, because that is interesting though.
Yeah, so basically
that feeds into the narrative surely that they are an agency built brand.
Exactly. I think that's why the Western
So explain
media,
what the big three is.
Okay, so the big three basically was कि जब Korea was trying to get like soft power in the world, they decided to focus on their media as well, कि हम अगर अपना media export कर सकते हैं तो हमारी soft power build होगी. So there were these three companies, YG, JYP और तीसरी कौन सी है, SM, ये तीनों थी जो गवर्नमेंट के साथ लाइक काम करी थी. उनको बहुत ज़्यादा लाइक लीवे समझो दे दिया. आई एम नॉट श्योर बट आई फील लाइक मे बी दे गॉट टैक्स ब्रेक्स और समथिंग, आई रियली डोंट नो, और सपोर्ट फ्रॉम द गवर्नमेंट एंड दे वर लाइक ह्यूज. So they started like recruiting people and they had the biggest bands like Exxon ka tha, and like all these huge acts were coming out from these three companies. They had a lot of funding. तो वो उनकी ट्रेनिंग, उनके जो म्यूज़िक वीडियोज़, उनकी क्या कहते हैं वोकल ट्रेनिंग, डांस ट्रेनिंग, और उनके टूर्स, सब कुछ प्रमोशन और जो कम बैक स्टेजेस होते हैं वो बहुत लाइक मेगा स्केल पे करवा सकते थे क्योंकि पैसा उनके पास बहुत था. बिग हिट जो थी, इट वाज लाइक ब्रोक, and artists signed to it were never like supposed to even make it to the mainstream. तो when BTS came out तो they had a lot of issues क्योंकि उनके पास फंडिंग नहीं होती थी. कभी कभार म्यूज़िक वीडियोज़ उनकी इतनी हाई बजट नहीं हो सकती थी जितनी बाकियों की हैं, तो उनको लगता था कि शायद इसकी वजह से ये लोग तो फेल हो जाएंगे. फिर बिकॉज दे weren't फ्रॉम द बिग थ्री, तो उनका जो लाइक नेशनल शोज़ होते हैं जो शोकेस करते हैं उनको ऑन टेलीविजन एंड एवरीथिंग, जो ब्रॉडकास्ट होते हैं उन पर स्पॉट नहीं मिलता था अच्छा, या उनको किक आउट कर देते थे. दे डिडंट इवन नो कि अगर वो डेब्यू करेंगे विच इज़ लाइक बी शोन ऑन लाइक अ ब्रॉडकास्ट शो फॉर Korean acts like idols and bands. They didn't even know that. And like वो coincidentally I think उन्होंने debut किया था क्योंकि like someone dropped out and they needed like someone to fill that space in like you know at the last minute. So that was how they debuted. And after that उनकी reception इतनी अच्छी थी कि like they started like steadily going up. And the thing was कि their music was very different. It was like it had hints of questioning authority. Mm-hmm. Like you know their first album उसके अंदर they were like a lot of themes of them being at school and being like कि उन्हें गोली खिला रहे हैं and just to I think portray कि सबको एक जैसा होना है, like be obedient, be a good child. And they were like, one of their songs is called No, N-O, and they're like no, we want to like be ourselves. And all of their music like initially was very like about that. There's a song called Babe Say which is like questioning the older generation that criticizes the younger one कि तुम लोग like you guys don't work hard enough and blah blah blah, and they're like no, you guys ruined the economy, screw you. This is literally the song. They're like screw you, you ruined everything and you're telling us we don't work hard, like हम कभी retire नहीं कर सकते और तुम लोग हमें कह रहे हो हम we have it easy. Right. So a lot of their music is about that, which like not a lot of acts were doing. So I think that also fed into why they became popular around the world, because what their message was and what they were talking about was kind of universal and kind of felt by every young person around the world.
But it's interesting what you said at the beginning of the answer, which is talking about their agencies and how they didn't get big spots on TV initially, and they had less money, and so they were not expected to become big.
Yeah.
Don't you think that is like that is the machine? No. Like I'm just thinking about some American pop stars, like Justin Bieber started as I think like he was just uploading videos on YouTube.
Yeah, and Scooter saw them.
I think there are some other stories. Again, these are ones that are picked out by them specifically, but just as an example. Whereas on the K-pop side, for BTS as an example, they seem to be in a way manufactured in some sense. Again, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but do you have stories like that coming out of the Korean pop scene or the Korean music scene about like people just making guitars and like playing guitar in their bedroom, singing, and then they become a huge star? Or is it more like, no, you first have to be a part of an agency?
I think even if you just upload music from your room or whatever, personally I don't know like a lot of them, but a lot of them were all like struggling artists and stuff. Even like RM and Suga from BTS, they were underground rappers, and then they signed to the agency. और उनका training period होता है where they like assemble acts and they like try to gauge कि अच्छा तुम्हारी कहाँ strength है और तुम solo artist हो या तुम एक band में जाओगे, and then they train all of them because सबकी like different I think levels होते हैं. जैसे RM was pretty popular in the underground rap scene in Korea, ठीक है, but J-Hope जो है he hadn't rapped before and he thought he'd be a singer. But then Suga and RM like helped him and उसको rap को introduce किया, and then they like trained him and he's like a really amazing rapper now. So I think
and they're all BTS members.
Yeah. So like I think unka training period is to make sure that all of them are on the same level, so when they debut it's like cohesive. And I think like a lot of them, like all of them jinki maine suna hai, they all wanted to be in music in one way or another, and some of them already had careers when they were struggling to sell music. Like Suga jo tha, he used to produce and he wanted to be a producer initially, but they were like, you know, you should be a rapper, you're very talented. So he would get ripped off, uska music chori ho jata tha, and he wouldn't be paid for it. So a lot of them were like struggling artists, and then they just had the opportunity to sign to a bigger label, and like who wouldn't do that? Even in the US, like who wouldn't do that?
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. Yeah, I think the parallels to like other bigger Western pop agencies is not that different, or pop industries isn't that different. Like that's why they call it industry, right? It is like I wouldn't go the other way and be like, oh no, they're all very authentic. I think they just go through the same kind of process that every Western pop star goes through.
Yeah. The only difference is that I think क्योंकि यहाँ पे government का भी initiative था, soft power उन्हें gain करनी थी, and they did it through like K-pop and K-media and like Korean skincare.
And what a success, no? That's probably the biggest successful...
I don't think they expected it to be this big. Like a lot of people I've talked to, even like a Korean friend, like they were like, और journalists जो Korean है उनके मैं अगर articles पढ़ूँ तो a lot of them are like they're now like studying how did it happen, like BTS का क्या formula था. Literally like जो bigger companies थी, the big three, they had teams that were studying कि BTS इतना popular कैसे हुआ West में, because they didn't understand it. BTS never was marketed directly to the West. क्योंकि उनका जो कंटेंट था वो इंग्लिश में ट्रांसलेट नहीं होता था, फैंस करते थे ट्रांसलेट.
And definitely not advertised to like Pakistanis.
No, not at all.
But there's a huge like fan base.
Yeah, there is like all around the world.
Why do you think that? Why is it so successful?
I feel like they're just वैसे I have to say like these agencies are really smart in terms of the content they put out. Like music is just one thing, right? इनके variety shows होते हैं अपने, ठीक है, BTS का run BTS, then अब एक नया आ रहा है In the Soup with BTS, it's going to air on like JTBC, which is a Korean channel.
I know what a few of those words meant in that sentence.
Okay. फिर they have like YouTube channels जिसके ऊपर वो snippets लगाते हैं या episodes लगाते हैं of like random days from their life on when they're like behind the scenes of a recording, like फिर behind the scenes of music video filming होती है. फिर they usually don't watch their music videos like the final cut, और वो एक साथ बैठ के react करते हैं. तो there's like so much content.
Right.
Okay. You're just like, if you watch one video, you're just like pulled in, and while the music is amazing, I find them so hilarious and relatable and adorable कि मैं उनके interviews actively देखती हूँ. Like उनका कोई interview आएगा, अभी वो Samsung का उनने एक unboxing की थी, कल जो Samsung event था, like they were revealing the new phone, तो उसके अंदर BTS था. Would you believe like fans around
BTS and Samsung are...
BTS are brand ambassadors for Samsung.
Okay.
So, like fans around the world tuned in to the Samsung event just के ओ BTS आएगा. और फिर हुआ क्या था कि 30 सेकंड की एक stupid सी वीडियो थी जिसके अंदर they're just unboxing and be like, this is the phone. We were like, oh, we thought they were performing.
Right.
We've been like, you know, bamboozled.
Yeah, that's just good marketing, right?
That is good marketing.
So when you buy into BTS, you buy into a whole range of content, basically. True. It's like a reality TV show in some ways.
And I think Western outlets have picked up on it because अभी MTV Music Awards हो रहे हैं, उनको main category में किसी में नहीं nominate किया. K-pop की उन्होंने category बनाई है, उसमें nominate कर दिया. फिर I think best dance in a video, in a music video किया है. फिर एक best पता नहीं pop video or something. मेन कैटेगरीज में नहीं किया, बट देर लाइक देर हाईलाइट एक्ट के BTS परफॉर्म करेगा, उनने पिन किया हुआ है ट्वीट, एंड दे लाइक आर प्रमोटिंग द हेल आउट ऑफ इट कि ओ माई गॉड लाइक BTS इज कमिंग एंड परफॉर्मिंग, एंड ऑल ऑफ द फैंस आर लाइक अच्छा अब उन्हें मेन कैटेगरीज में भी नॉमिनेट करना शुरू कर दो, क्योंकि व्यूज़ और एयर प्ले और सब कुछ तो उनका बहुत ज़्यादा है, तो इट डजंट मेक सेंस. Yeah, you won't nominate them.
I think this has always been the issue with the MTV Awards, right? Because they have a separate
every American
one for
Western award, basically.
They have a separate awards for the Latin music MTV Awards.
I think
right?
so.
They have a different one for that. So yeah, I think this is generally an issue.
True.
But here's the contentious part, which is that maybe people have a dislike of K-pop because of the fan base. I'm not saying anything.
Okay.
I'm not saying anything. The Pakistani incident that happened that I know of is that Ducky Bhai. Do you know about this?
Yeah.
See, I also don't know about this, but I just know this is what I know of it. Is that Ducky Bhai put up a video criticizing K-pop or something, and he got such an insane response back that then he, like a like a scared little child, basically was like, oh no, I'm sorry, put out an apology. I'm like, he roasts people like regularly, no?
Yeah.
Like galiyan deta hai, and he like properly roasts people, and you can't take a little bit of like criticism from K-pop fans. Like,
I mean, that's what happened to us as well, remember? जब मैंने वो reaction वाली video बनाई थी.
Yeah, but I don't think anyone... I mean, sure, we got some backlash, but it was fine. No, we didn't take anything down.
No, it was really bad.
Matlab?
It was so bad.
Achha,
I was like upset for days about that.
Explain what happened.
So like I made this video के Pakistanis react to K-pop, ठीक है, and I did with like my Mango Bus colleagues. तो मेरे दोस्त हैं, मुझे पता है कि like अगर वो कुछ भी बोलेंगे, it's like light-hearted and like it's not mean-spirited.
Yeah.
But the fans didn't know that.
Yeah.
And मैंने अपनी तरफ से तो उसको बहुत अच्छी तरह edit करवाया था कि कुछ इतना like कुछ offensive अगर कहा भी गया था वो ना final cut में आए. But I guess कि I was viewing it from a biased lens.
Sure.
कि ये तो मेरे दोस्त हैं, लोग कह रहे हैं, मजाक में ही कह रहे हैं. बट जब वो पोस्ट हुई थी उसके बाद जो नीचे गालियाँ आई थी and the messages I got and I was just upset.
I knew that we got some hate for that video.
Not
but I didn't...
some hate.
Achha.
We only got hate.
No way.
It was really bad. I was really upset and क्योंकि I felt like I'd done something wrong. कि अच्छा, like they were like, oh, you put them in a spot where they were ridiculed. You know that Pakistanis are bigoted and xenophobic, and you like gave them the opportunity like on a silver platter कि diss this band. And I was like, that was not my intention. अगर कुछ
Also, the video is fine, no?
It wasn't like, even now if I watch it, I'm like, acha, as like a third person who doesn't know these people and is only a fan of BTS, I would be pretty upset.
Really?
I'd be honest. Like अगर कोई मैं western article पढ़ती हूँ या कोई ऐसी video देखती हूँ ना जिसके लिए थोड़ा सा भी हो कहते हैं क्या है ये वो ना, I'm like, screw you.
You must expect that on some level.
I know they're not everyone's cup of tea, especially like Adil Bhai. He was so bored throughout the video. सबसे ज़्यादा गालियाँ Adil Bhai को पड़ी थी.
I know.
But I guess I do expect that not everyone's going to like it, and I know they won't. And some people go out of their way to be like really rude about it, and when they find out you're a K-pop fan, they'll just come up to your face and be like, well, I fucking hate it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, like
yeah.
मैं क्या करूँ?
Right.
Like yesterday I was like,
that's bizarre, right? Like that's
just rude.
Yeah.
Like I don't care that you listen to whatever metal, punk, rock and think you're like so like indie or पता नहीं क्या, but I don't give a shit.
But doesn't this prove that the fans are a little bit overzealous?
I mean, they're just protective, I think, because obviously like locals and like mainstream media always tries to make them look bad.
Look crazy.
So not the fans, like the band. Oh, like these boys are doing so well. We wonder why. It's just because like 15-year-old girls around the world are insane, and you're like, some of her are like एक दफा
there's not enough 15-year-old girls to make up their entire audience.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
And also किसी ने survey की थी, और I think like जो average age थी वो 23 थी fans की. It's not like, it's pretty old.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's
well, it's like a standard pop audience.
Okay.
No? I mean pop is for all ages, obviously.
I suppose. Yeah. I don't have the statistics to back me up with this.
But that seems like a normal, like a pretty average age.
I mean, Taylor Swift का भी fandom इतने ही साल का
I'm surely it's about the same.
तो खैर, so I think like because they're so protective and they're like default is कि अगर कुछ भी, if anyone is talking about BTS and they're not a fan, if it's negative, you just like put them in their place.
Okay.
And
Sounds like censorship.
I'll admit that I'm also a part of that party sometimes, but only when it's like white people. I'm like,
Yeah.
No one cares about your opinion.
Okay.
But the fandom really bullies like white people, and I'm like here for it. It's a lot of fun. Like if a white fan says some shit where like no one asked you, this music isn't even for you.
Okay.
Even though that's like not true, but it's just fun to bully them.
Okay, nice.
You shouldn't bully anyone.
But it's fun sometimes.
Yeah. It's okay with white people most of the time.
So that's interesting. I mean, I think like any fandom gets a little bit insane. That's the thing. Like even if you not talking about music, even like Star Wars fandom.
Yeah.
Like they bullied their own stars out of their movies or something like this. You know, like because they hate the newer films.
Yeah.
And so they go insane on social media.
Yeah. True.
So I think any fandom has those bad apples or whatever, and you just kind of got to. It's internet culture as well, right? It's not so much being. I personally cannot see anything in K-pop that would be like, oh, it's encouraging hateful behavior. Like, no.
Obviously.
Come on. Like, most of their songs are very positive and nice.
Exactly.
So,
but I don't think that energy also, like, goes back to these idols as well. Jab they do something problematic, people will rally together and be like, you need to apologize and, like, you should know better than this. Jaise abhi ek... there's this band called Blackpink that's arguably the biggest female K-pop band in the world. They had this video, उनका comeback आया तो उस video के अंदर there was a statue of a Hindu deity and it was on the floor and people who were Hindu were very upset and they were like, this is very hurtful to our religious sentiments and you need to apologize. So उसके फौरन बाद उन्होंने वो हटा दी, like that clip or image was like blurred out on YouTube or whatever. But I don't think they issued an apology. But this other artist called Sunmi, she made a TikTok और उसके अंदर पीछे वो तुरुक तुरुक नहीं है गाना किसका something Mehdi, what's his guy, the Sikh guy, I'm forgetting his name, Daler Mehdi. तो वो पहले कोई I think K-pop का गाना चल रहा था and then it transitions into that and they like did a dance to it and every Indian fans were very upset. They were like, this is appropriation. And
what?
I don't want to talk about whether it was valid or not.
Of course it's not valid. That's stupid.
It's not my place.
What do you mean?
It's not my place to discredit anyone's hurt sentiments.
Oh, come on, dude.
Anyway,
what,
she
dancing
apologized.
To Tunak Tunak is appropriation.
They said like one of the head movements was like, you know, that वो जो you करते हैं Indians.
Oh, come on,
so they were like, that's
man.
disrespectful. Listen.
Oh. Yeah, okay, whatever.
People were hurt. They talked about it.
They shouldn't be hurt
and she
about
issued an apology and she said that I didn't know about the culture enough and I didn't know this would be disrespectful. I apologize.
Okay, whatever. Like, that's so...
Okay,
in the grand scheme of things, who cares, man? But with regards to the other stuff, yeah, it's cool that they... I mean, they definitely don't seem to promote hate or anything like that at all. So whatever the fans do, that's just internet culture.
On them, yeah.
Every fandom has a similar kind of people who are just obsessively online and are constantly like looking for reasons to get angry.
True.
So I think that's pretty normal. How many fans do you think there are in Pakistan? Do you have a number?
There probably लाखों में तो होंगे. Definitely. कराची में तो बहुत ज़्यादा है. कराची में the thing is कि अब mobilize करने की कोशिश करते हैं in terms of के meetups and everything. I even organized a meetup in Lahore. It's
funny the BTS language is like army, mobilize. all this terrifying military language.
Yeah. But Karachi में there's there's a lot that goes on. Like वहाँ पे तो festival होता है और they book like शादी halls और पूरा वो filled to the brim होते हैं with K-pop fans, not just armies, just like fans in general. फिर here like this guy I know Zegham, उसने शुरू किया था कि हम सारे K-pop fans, like in general we meet up, we have like this group that has about 4,000 to 5,000 people who are like fans of K-dramas and K-pop in Pakistan, and we just discuss stuff. So he was like, hey, do you guys want to meet up on that group? And then people who said yes, we all came. 30-40 लोग थे हम लोग. California Pizza MMRM पे मिले थे. It was a lot of fun, like different fandoms के थे सब. फिर पाकिस्तान में fan base भी है army का, who tries to organize official events in different cities. कराची में ज़्यादातर होता है क्योंकि वहाँ पे strength ज़्यादा है. इस्लामाबाद में भी हुआ था, लाहौर में भी हो जाता है. But like I feel like there are a lot of fans because fans message me a lot too, and I know कि उकाड़ा में है, फैसलाबाद में है, मुल्तान में है, कोयटा में है, like हर शहर में है basically. So it's not just like a main city thing.
Right.
But it does surprise me sometimes that, you know, it's not translated into Urdu, but it's all in English, so it's still like inaccessible hai bahut logon ke liye. To the day they start maybe translating it into Urdu or something, jaise Ertugrul ne kiya hai. I wonder like how popular it'll get, especially their dramas. I think Pakistan mein bahut chalenge agar wo aa gaye.
Achha, so they have that as well. They have a drama.
Their drama industry is like just as big as K-pop, maybe even more so. Shah's into it now, so you can imagine like
nobody knows who Shah is. Shah's a mutual friend of ours.
Okay, he worked at Mango Bars and
yeah.
He's into like everything that AR is into, so that's just my point.
Yeah, that's interesting. And the thing is that the fans are so passionate, right?
Yeah,
that's why they would like organize meetups themselves and
I think you also want to have a sense of community. It makes you feel really happy to have someone to talk about that with. Like जब BTS के comebacks आते हैं, a lot of fans that I met who are like मुझे तो पता भी नहीं था और K-pop fans हैं यहाँ पे, and they feel so happy when you meet each other. It's like a family situation. तो जब BTS का comeback आता है, I think I love whatever is coming out, but I also love talking to my friends about it in real time. Like we're talking, oh my god, did you see this? Like what do you think about that? अच्छा ये देखो वो देखो. So that's like a big part of K-pop. Like you have friends and you meet amazing people. I've made so many friends because of K-pop. You have like no idea.
Really?
A lot of friends.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one shared passion among people, and that's all you need, really.
True.
And do you have international friends as well? Is it?
I do. Like Stan Twitter जो है, like उस पे तो हर जगह के लोग होते हैं. तो I think during Ramzan I became friends with like a lot of Muslim K-pop fans around the world. कोई अल्जीरिया में है, कोई अमेरिका में है, UK, Malaysia, Philippines, Indonesia, like all over the world.
Nice.
Yeah, even Indian friends. We can solve our problems with K-pop.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you want to talk about the whole toxic masculinity aspect of it? I mean,
sure.
It to me seems pretty obvious in some ways, right? Like, from my perspective, at least, it's probably because they kind of seem, like you said, polished in certain kind of way. Again, I just don't see any difference whatsoever between them and like a Justin Bieber kind of pop star. I just don't see any difference whatsoever. Okay. So like that's why it's kind of ridiculous to me. But go on. What are your thoughts about it? Have
you seen those recent TikToks that have gone viral of Chinese street fashion?
I saw one. Yeah. It was pretty cool.
You know, like the men in those videos are like very sharply dressed, and there are a lot of colors, and it's very
I wish I
like
could
exactly right.
Yeah.
Like बहुत thoughtful, you know, pieces put together, and एक aesthetic है उनका. तो K-pop bands जो हैं, idols जो होते हैं, उनका भी यही होता है. Like they have obviously dress, जो उनके like stylists होते हैं, वो उनका पूरा wardrobe curate करते हैं. उनकी खुद भी जो when they're off, like when they're not on, you know, when they're not working or airport जा रहे हैं, airport fashion is a big thing in like this culture, K-pop culture.
Really?
Yeah, when they're going to the airport. But it's like West में भी होता है ना. Yeah, exactly. Like what are they wearing to the airport?
What a ridiculous
thing. जो K-pop idols होते हैं, that's like when they wear like whatever they want as well. So a lot of people are like, okay, like, oh, he's wearing this, oh, she's wearing that. So this is like their style.
Whereas everywhere else they've been styled.
In music videos and like interviews, they might have been styled by, you know, their
is their style terrible at the airport?
No, it's amazing. Like,
see, surely that would be the fun thing, no?
I mean, they're just the thing is that when they're at the airport or when they're
if they're wearing Crocs with like
duty,
socks and stuff like that,
then I'd be
like, that's fun.
They never do that. तो you know, उन्हें मेकअप भी नहीं किया हुआ होता, और वो पॉलिश्ड लुक जो ऑन कैमरा होती है हर सेलिब्रिटी की, नो मैटर वो कोरियन है, पाकिस्तानी है, अमेरिकन है, वो नहीं होती. तो दे लाइक, आई डोंट नो, आई जस्ट फील लाइक पीपल जस्ट लुक एट वन पिक्चर in which they are like styled in a certain way and they are wearing makeup and they're like, oh, this is like so feminine, which I don't understand, because like every artist around the world, when they're on camera, they will wear makeup.
Of course. Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
So it's not like they're doing elaborate makeup or something.
And even if they probably just have really good skin.
And even if they do, like I don't know how it takes away from masculinity, like traditional masculinity. I think यहाँ पे एटलीस्ट इतनी ज़्यादा टॉक्सिक है. दाढ़ी पे इतना जोर होता है, वो लोग दाढ़ी नहीं रख सकते, उन्हें मेकअप करना होता है, उन्हें लाइक अपनी एक एस्थेटिक रखनी है. एंड ऑनेस्टली आई डोंट थिंक आई वुड प्रेफर इफ दे हैव facial hair. I don't know. Like I had a dream once where like I think Taeyang and Namjoon had facial hair and I was like, what ये क्या किया है तुम लोगों ने?
Okay. Yeah. But I guess people here just see it as or not people here but generally
maybe they just feel insecure. And I think वो Western propaganda भी है ना, when World War II happened, वो Japanese men को उन्हें dehumanize and like they wanted to like make them seem feminine, so they started like propaganda हुआ था proper के they're shorter, they can't like grow facial hair, they're feminine and like उनकी mannerism इतनी feminine है. जब चाइना में जब अमेरिका में Chinese immigrants थे initially, like उनके साथ भी ये हुआ था when they were trying to like other them. जब वो railroad और सारा वाला scene था like in the 1800s or something, this is what they said कि oh my god they have like long hair जो like they were tying to like ponytails and everything. They're like oh my god they're so feminine.
Right.
And like Asian men are feminine. लाइक आर्यन रेस जो है ये होती है मर्दानगी, और हमें तो वो जानवर कहते थे ना, एनिमलिस्टिक बीस्ट है ये. तो इफ़ यू आर लाइक बाइंग इनटू दैट आइडियोलॉजी तो वो आपको भी जानवर ही समझते हैं. तो इट्स नॉट मच बेटर. So I feel like that also like seeps in subconsciously. Though obviously this is something we've been told, like even initially.
Every culture looking at another.
I mean, it was like proper orchestrated propaganda from the West, which also played into their movies and in their shows, and you know. So obviously, like अभी भी अगर आप एक stereotype देखें Asian man in America का, तो वो है nerdy, meek, and he doesn't like question anyone, and he gets like जो गोरा होता है तगड़ा वो उसे side पे करवा देता है. तो like obviously we're going to like अगर हमने बड़े होते हुए हर वक्त यही चीज़ देखी है, हम इनको देख के कहेंगे वो तो feminine है, because that's what we were subconsciously communicated. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's just...
Yeah, fuck the West. No, actually, don't put that in.
No, I'm going to have to put it in now. I can't get that. I can beep it. Yeah, the other... I mean, what you're saying about othering another culture.
Yeah.
Like, when you were talking about the factory, this idea of BTS or any K-pop band being factory produced. I wonder how much of that is just because, so much of our stuff is made in Chinese factories that we just like to look at any kind of East Asian thing as being like, oh yeah, they just do everything by the book and they like to do it.
They have like these production lines.
Yeah, they enjoy it. That's who they are. It's like, no, they don't enjoy being in a factory for 24 hours or whatever.
Yeah.
Why were you making that face?
No, I was just like, yeah, you're right.
Acha, I thought I said something racist or whatever.
No.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, I'm sure you did say something in between all of this, but maybe I did too. I don't know if I will be accepted back in the fandom after this. I really don't.
Really?
I mean, I don't know. I'm always like, I think
you're a pretty big Twitter K-pop fan.
I'm a big K-pop fan, and a lot of people do know me for that.
Right.
But I feel like a lot of people don't like me because of it. Like क्योंकि जब कई बार मैं articles भी लिखती हूँ और वो हम मैंगो बास की like Instagram और Twitter, Facebook पे post करते हैं, तो Instagram पे जो locals again like they start spewing के वो using like very derogatory language about, I don't want to say it, but okay, oh, these men don't look like men.
Sure,
they look like this. Oh, they're gay. Oh, they're this, and like transphobic language, which is very disturbing to read. बहुत ज़्यादा ये होता है. So a lot of fans are like, you need to stop writing about it because you're just putting them again in a place where they can be ridiculed. Okay. But then I'm like, अगर मैं नहीं लिखूंगी तो ये normalize कैसे होगा? Like, what is the point of me like being a writer if I can't write about something I actually care about?
Sure. Yeah. Okay, last question, which is Parasite by Bong Joon-ho.
Yeah.
He's a Korean filmmaker, right? Yeah. He said something interesting, which he said that he had written Parasite for the Korean audience. He'd written it to be pretty specific to the Korean experience of like tuition and all that kind of thing. And the fact that it won so many Oscars, I don't know how many Oscars it won, but the fact that it resonated with the fact that
even won one Oscar,
and that it resonated with the international audience meant that on some level it was a global issue, and he was like, the issue is capitalism, right?
Exactly.
So I was like, that's a really interesting point, right? Like there's something that he had tailored for a Korean audience managed to like spread worldwide. do you see this as something kind of similar? That something that seems like K-pop, which is geared towards a Korean audience, then becomes massively popular worldwide. What is it about their music and what is it about them that relates so heavily to you?
Like I said initially as well, ke BTS के जो initial गाने especially थे, they were about like questioning authority and not wanting to like fit the mold that or do the job or be the perfect kid or whatever. So I think that's a global, like it's a universal experience ke hum sab, we all go through that. In terms of how it resonates with everyone, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, because something like they don't make music in English generally, right? Like, so they seem to be catering to the Korean market and then it just explodes worldwide.
I think...
Why do you think that happened?
The music is good. Like, even if you listen to it, you're like, okay, this is like amazing. But fans like actively read the translation as well, subtitles, sab kuch. So then it takes on a completely different meaning. But there's a lot of international music
that's good. That doesn't spread like this has.
True, but I mean, that's a good question. Like, I think a lot of it was initially fans mobilizing and like, you know, like एक साथ होके उनने खुद स्प्रेड किया. A lot of BTS का भी ये होता है कि fans जो हैं वो translations करते थे initially, सारा content उनका, company कुछ नहीं करती थी. And then like fans in 2019 के almost end पे they were like, if we're paying for some content, you need to translate it into English. अगर तुम हमें like बेच रहे हो और पता है तुम्हें हम इंटरनेशनल फैंस हैं तो तुम इंग्लिश में क्यों नहीं कर रहे. फैंस की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नहीं है. लाइक यू नीड टू ट्रांसलेट इट एंड आफ्टर दैट दे वर लाइक ओह या ओके या वी आर हायरिंग ट्रांसलेटर्स. तो आई फील लाइक कि फैंस इतने लाइक यू सेड दे आर वेरी पैशनेट एंड दे वांट लाइक पीपल टू हेयर दिस म्यूजिक. सो दैट प्लेज अ बिग पार्ट.
A lot of word of mouth.
Exactly. I think it is 90% word of mouth. Or US के अंदर fans ये करते हैं कि they call radio stations and they're like play this song. And the radio stations are really reluctant to play K-pop और mainstream media पे नहीं लेके आ जाते हैं. But जो भी fan request shows होते हैं they make sure कि अच्छा we're doing this, and when come back some they start tagging their local stations. They're like कि आ रहा है BTS का गाना, I want to hear it on your station. So yeah, it's like a lot of that.
A lot of mobilization. Of the army.
So coordinated attack.
Exactly. Jado, I think that's a good place to end it. We've gone for about an hour, so that was really interesting.
Yeah.
#army or whatever. The bias. Give me a bias to have.
I can just do the fan chant.
Yeah, do the fan chant.
Kim Namjoon, Kim Seokjin, Min Yoongi, Jung Hoseok, Park Jimin, Kim Taeyang, John Jungkook, BTS.
Yeah.